you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
All right, everybody, a feature that many of you have been asking for quite a while is finally here. Player proposals are now a thing. You can now submit your own proposal for the DAO to vote on for changes in the game. So let's go kind of take a look at this, break this down. They sent out this post earlier today. We're gonna talk about how it works and what is actually eligible for a proposal, because there's a lot of misunderstanding about what the community actually has the power to change in the game. So the way this has actually worked, they've kind of, we actually saw that they used peaked voting, like Hive blog voting, as a way to gauge community interest in different ideas, and that worked pretty well. That was how it was actually changed, so DECB would be soulbound instead of being something that could be freely traded. So they're going back to that same system here for community proposals. And the way community proposals will work, I'm not going to outline the entire process, so I'll kind of just give an overview here. If you're actually going to propose one, make sure you go read through this post in detail. But you essentially have the option to burn, I say you, anybody has the option to burn 100K DEC tokens by sending it to a null account in order to post a proposal. So you propose that on the Hive blockchain, and then players can essentially vote for it by upvoting or downvoting your post on the Hive blockchain. Splinterlands will then run that, and based on the SPS tokens that are held by those voters, it's not your Hive power, it's the SPS tokens, they will determine if it has enough to qualify, if it would pass, if it has that 66% threshold. So if it meets the required thresholds, that's kind of an initial vote. It will then be put directly in game for people to vote directly using their SPS instead of using the Hive system and all of that. That's kind of just to gauge interest in the idea. And if that passes, it will go up for an official vote. If it passes there, it will be put into the game. So I know the first reaction, my own first reaction was, whoa, 100K DEC, that's $60 right now. And that's why we're below par. The goal is to, some of these recent proposals has been to get DEC back to par as quickly as possible. That would then be $100 to make a proposal. And that seems kind of strict, but at the same time, you need a lot of SPS holders to vote for your proposal. There is a lot of money behind those votes. If this is an idea that is going to pass, getting $100, the community, it doesn't necessarily have to come from one, it needs to stem from a single account, but the community will kind of fund that if the ideas are there. If you can't find $100 worth of DEC in support, then your idea is probably not going to pass anyway. So this is kind of a way of, it's kind of a barrier to, so you just don't have everybody going and proposing ideas. Like if you go to feedback.splinterlands.com, you see all kinds of ideas that are off the wall or ridiculous or simply just not even possible to implement, even if we wanted to. So that way you're just going to cut out a lot of those spam proposals, and you're only going to get serious proposals here by having that 100K DEC burn in order to propose that. So that's how things can be proposed. And as we get things, you guys know I'm going to make videos. If we get a lot of these coming in, I'll do a weekly series. Okay, these are the proposals for the week or whatever the case is. I don't know if we'll have that many coming in or not, but we'll cover them on this channel. But what does the DAO actually have control over? Because this is something that a lot of people don't understand. So the DAO controls the DEC, or sorry, the DAO controls the SPS, the vouchers, and the license. So it's right here. The SPS DAO has complete control over the SPS, voucher, and the license tokens. For everything else, the community may still propose changes, but it is ultimately up to the Splinterlands team whether or not to put those community proposals up for official voting, regardless of the outcome of the informal voting via upvotes and downvotes on the post. So a lot of people say, like, the biggest one is put up a community proposal to ban bots. Okay, and on its own, that is not something that the DAO actually has control over. Now, if we put up a vote and it gets 80% and it passes, that tells Splinterlands that, okay, this is really what the community wants. They will take that in consideration to whether they should put that in the game. But if it's not directly based on the SPS, the voucher, or the license tokens, the DAO doesn't actually have control over it. Now they could, I mean, we could do things like voting to withhold the SPS rewards from anybody who uses a bot, or so like you could implement bots like based on those tokens and things like that. But that's what's very important to keep in mind, that actual gameplay things, the DAO doesn't necessarily have complete control over. So now if it's based on these, then the DAO has control over it, and whatever the DAO votes for, as long as it's something that's executable and it can be done, then the Splinterlands will have to build that in, or have to. There's obviously a lot of logistics around it, but basically the DAO controls those tokens. So I'm very curious to see what type of proposals we get. And again, if you are submitting a proposal, especially because that $100 or that 100K DEC burn to start a proposal is not refundable. It gets burned. It's gone forever. There's no way to refund it. So there's a lot of different things that goes through here. Make sure you are in communication with the team. Weirdbeard is the one who who's going to, it says, act as a liaison between proposal authors and the Splinterlands team. Get in touch with him and make sure you're aware that, okay, first off, does the DAO actually have control over this? Can this be enforced? If they don't have complete control, is the Splinterlands team willing to accept the results? Accept the results anyways, because there'll be a lot of things that, yeah, the DAO doesn't actually have complete control over, but if they vote for it, the Splinterlands team will take it and they'll go with it. And then, okay, even if the DAO does have control over, is it something that can be executed? I mean, you can't just have crazy ideas that maybe are based on the token, but the team doesn't have the means to actually go put it into place. If that was the case, you'd have to have the DAO go hire another company that can do things, or whatever the case is. I mean, there's a lot of things that can be done, but it's not my point behind this. I know I'm getting way off on a tangent here, but the point is that you can't just put up any sort of vote and, oh, the vote passes, now the team has to do it. There are some restrictions. So if you're putting up a vote, make sure you are in contact with the team, make sure it meets all the guidelines, you've got it formatted right, and that it's something that if it does passes, it can be put into place. So I'm excited to see this. We've seen so many people say, like, oh, these things are rigged because they don't allow it. Like, yeah, there's a DAO here, but they don't actually allow us to propose anything. So many people, oh, I can't wait until we're gonna change this in the game when proposals are here. Well, now it's time. Let's find out if that's the case. Let's see what community proposals are out there. I know it talks about like having third parties. I know Splex has already set something up so it will display like all of the proposals and everything like that. So, and again, in this channel, if there are proposals out there, we're gonna run through them and talk about them. I'll certainly give my own opinion on it, but I'm just excited to see what comes of this. Will there be any major changes that result as a community initiated proposal that make it in the game? We've kind of seen that already, even though we don't directly have this. The last one that we just had, DECB. I mean, I technically voted against it. I didn't necessarily hate it, but I feel like there were some risks there that I didn't want to take. But regardless of my feeling of whether I supported the idea or didn't, that idea specifically came from the community. It came from MavChat, and the team was okay with that idea. They took it, they put it into place, and the SPS holders approved it. So that was a community idea that got proposed by the community, then went and got voted on. So we've already seen that come into place, but now we're going to have there's less of a gatekeeper. We don't have to rely on Splinterlands taking it and saying, oh yeah, we are okay with this one, let's go vote on that. If it's just based on the token, we can go out, we can create our own proposals, and potentially we can make changes in the game. So what do you guys think? Do you think we will see any major changes around these things? I think there's honestly a lot of people that think we can make certain changes, but they're gameplay based. They think, oh, we can ban bots, but it's just not going to work that way. So I'm not sure if this is going to have as big of an impact as a lot of people are assuming it will, but it's still going to have an impact. And this is still kind of a revolutionary thing in gaming. And I think there will be ideas that are proposed by the community that come out that change the way the token work, that change the way vouchers work. And I do expect there to be changes on this. And I'm personally very excited to see what those are. and honestly a little nervous to see what those are, because one of my big concerns with decentralization in gaming as a whole is that the community overall, yeah, like sometimes the community just doesn't know what's best for the game in a way. And that includes myself. I'm not saying I'm some authoritative figure that knows what's best for the game. But the example I made in map chat earlier was, I feel like one of the biggest mistakes this game has made since I've started is they backed off their decision to require vouchers for every Chaos Pack, or the first half of Chaos Packs. Aggro originally had proposed using vouchers as a way to gate the release. Like, a lot of people thought they were going to sell out right away. We were at the peak of a bull run when that pre-sale kind of started, or right before, as we were preparing details for that pre-sale. A lot of people, myself included, thought they were going to sell out right away. The idea was to make it so they can't sell out right away because we don't have the vouchers for them. So you have to wait for the vouchers to be produced in order to even go buy those Chaos Packs. So that would create a consistent demand for those vouchers, as, okay, now there's more vouchers produced for the day. Now we can go buy more Chaos Packs. And I think that would have been a much better setup. We'd have a lot more vouchers burned at this point. Well, we wouldn't have had pre-sale orders or pre-sale purchasers. I don't think they would have gotten bit so much because voucher value would still be a lot higher. I feel like that was one of the biggest mistakes that the game made, and that came because of community pushback. The community fought so hard against requiring vouchers for Chaos Packs that the team ended up folding on it, and I wish they'd never done that. So that was an example where the community was wrong. To be blunt, the community was wrong. And now the community is going to get a much bigger voice. So yes, that can be good, and the community is going to be heard. And overall, I like that, but it comes with some risk as well. So there's not a lot of games that have this level of implementation yet. I think we're going to see a lot of people looking to Splinterlands and saying, okay, how does this work out? What does the community decide? A lot of games are scared to give power over to the community. So Splinterlands the Splinterlands community has a lot on their shoulders right now as they gain a lot of power here, and a bunch of people are going to be looking at Splinterlands to see how they wield it, and whether it ends up being a negative or a positive for the game. So I think overall it'll be a positive, but it is one thing that I do get a little bit concerned about is what things could we see come forward out of this. So anyways, let me know your thoughts below. As always, leave the comments down below. Come to my Discord. I can't wait to hear it. And I really hope to see some community proposals going up. I want to be doing a lot of videos talking about the latest proposals that have been put up for the week. And I can't wait. I think there's going to be some. I don't know if there'll be too many, but I hope there are. So anyways, thanks a lot. I'll see you guys on my live streams on future videos. Catch you later.